Is there anybody listening? Is there anyone that sees what's going on? Read between the lines, criticize the words they're selling. Think for yourself and feel the
Good morning and welcome back to the Trailer Park. I am Chanda-Masta, the Trailer Park Pundit, and as you guys know, this is my Monday, so I'm struggling. Bear with me. I got a pretty big show. I've got a 50 slide show, so it'll take us a while to get through it. Let everybody file in. Let's see, the rock fin went. Did the rumble go? How is everybody this summer day? It's very beautiful here in the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be a nice day. I noticed they did chemtrail a little yesterday, but not too much. Let me get into the rumble. There's the rumble. Good morning, rumble. Good morning, Rockfin. And good morning or good day, because some of you, it's already the afternoon. But guys, I didn't think I was going to make this show. I made some baked Alaska last night with some really nice wild cod, Alaskan cod. And within like 45 minutes of eating it, I instantly was like, my gills were turning green. I was trying to get everything scheduled. It was a nightmare. I was just like, I got to go lay down. So I'm actually quite shocked. I made it through the night and I'm here with you guys. But that's just how much I love you guys. You guys are so supportive, so amazing. I want to thank Maria and Jax and Al Walski. Thank you guys so much for hitting up my donation sites this weekend. I appreciate it. It helps pay for the streaming fees. And, you know, there's so many fees associated with what we're doing. Every studio we use, every app, every platform, they're all taking money all month long. So it's so nice to know that that's taken care of. And I appreciate it more than I can say. Let's see. Let's just get moving because I got a big show for you guys. I could ramble on about my weekend, but we'll get there eventually. Fair use. We are on YouTube today. It is a YouTube Tuesday, aka Censored Tuesday. And yeah, everything I'm talking about, I'm just commenting on. I am not trying to steal anybody's work. And if you're interested by a topic that I scratched the surface on, please go do your research. I promise you, the truth is out there. They just don't think you'll go look for it. So they don't even bother to hide it anymore. It's that easy. I was really shocked when I started to dig, like, why they didn't censor this, but that was back then. Now they censor everything, right? That's the way it goes. But YouTube's getting better, right? YouTube's going to let us talk about rigged elections from what I hear. So that's the most that I'm going to say about it because I've had my ass beat by YouTube twice for saying stuff about elections. So I don't know if I trust their policy, and I guess we'll find out, right? YouTube, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, YouTube. Hey, if you want to buy me a coffee, you can buy me a coffee.com/trailer park. I appreciate it. Every now and then I need a good dose of caffeine to get me through the day and to wade through the swamp and muck that I bring to you every day. You know, people ask me all the time, isn't it depressing to have to look at the current world events every day? And yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes it just slaps you in the face like, oh, we're so fucked. Like, and then there's other times where I'll hear a story and go, okay, well, that gives me a little hope. But I don't have much hope. I can tell you that. Good morning, Sharon. How was your venture? I appreciate all the emails, updates, photos. Ryan looked great. I didn't know he could play guitar. Kate, good morning. Just got home. I can't wait to get out and start walking. Today is beautiful out there. DC, gotta walk the dogs. Go walk the dogs. Go walk the dogs. I took my cat for a walk. I have a big, fluffy, pampered, I mean, he's just a fluff ball. And I don't let him outside because I've lost every cat that I've let outside where I live. So now if I love an animal, I just like, nope, sorry, you can't go outside unless you're on a harness or you're in a, you know, a stroller. So yes, I am one of those people. I'm becoming one of those people that wants to buy a cat stroller and push my cat around. And I had my cat on a leash outside. I never thought I'd be one of those people. But when you love a creature so much that you don't want to see it hurt, that's the only choice you have, right? So, I mean, I don't lock him in the house. I try to get him outside, but my baby girl, she doesn't care to go outside. She's so skittish that she wouldn't care. But speaking of him, why are you sitting on my computer, mister? You're not supposed to be up there. He loves to sit on the top of my computer. Anyways, PayPal, Al Walski, I appreciate you hitting my PayPal. PayPal, yeah, I mean, they are PayPal. And if they want to take your donation sites, they can. That is a part of the Orwellian censorship we're living under. But for now, mine's working. So it has one of the less fees of all the donation sites, I think, and it's instant. A lot of these sites sometimes can take up to 3 weeks, a month to send you your money once you request it. That's crazy. Why? Because they're making the money on that interest. Let's see who's hanging out on the YouTubes. Who's on the YouTubes this morning? Kim, good morning, Kim. Popeye, good morning. Snow Leopard. Snow Leopard never goes outside. Yeah, no, I just love him too much. I can't. Mana, Jimmy's here. Hey, Jimmy. Kate, you made it back. Go start. Go start. You said something so funny the other night. I can't remember what it was, but you had me dying laughing. Over on the Beauty and the Boomer, we had a good show on Saturday night. Kim, did I get you already? Steve, did you send me a Facebook request? Please tell me, because I know you're already on my Facebook, so it wasn't one of those clone type requests. So if it's you, I will click yes on it. I just hate letting the CIA on my page, for no good reason. I'm sorry if I missed you this morning. My chat is flying by faster than I can keep up with, but I'm trying. It's Cold Fusions. Or yeah, I think you've changed your name, right? I will get it right one of these days when I see it, I promise. Okay, let's just get started. I can't keep up with the chat this morning. I promise you guys, I didn't smoke that much this morning. I really didn't. I'm just having that kind of day. Okay, so we're going to get started with this day in history. This day in history. Not a lot of history other than just the ones I'm about to say. So 1892, the Chicago Elevated Loop train line, commonly known as the L, began operating and has become one of the longest and busiest mass transit systems in the United States. 1892, and I can tell you the last time I was in Chicago, it looked like it was all the original fittings. They were rust buckets in the sky, and I think they were just being held up by the amount of homeless that were under them, honestly. Moving ahead to 1934. Oh, this is a good one. SEC, the Secretaries and Exchange Commission, the U.S. regulatory agency, was established. Oh, happy birthday. Not. And of course, today, this one's kind of cool. 1933. The first drive-in theater was founded. You guys got drive-ins still around where you live? I do. I think we have 2 or 3 locally. I know my original one I grew up with is still there, and then there's one in the next town over. And yeah, how cool is that? I mean, to still go to the drive-in. I grew up taking my kids there. I grew up going there. So it's an experience. I think that's all American, right? Isn't it an only American experience? And then, of course, today is D-Day, 1944, which was the Allies' invasion of Europe begins. So, summertime campaigns are always the best, and they know it. So be watching for our newest one. So that was your This Day in History. Hold on, I want to put one of my graphics up. I always get so busy, I forget to put my graphics up. See, isn't it cute? Yeah, I think it's cute. My new studio is going to be so cool. I'm taking so much time to build it up, though, so it's probably going to take me a while. And I need a little help, and we will get there. It's been almost a year that I've been streaming on my own now, guys. So I think I've come a long, 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 long way. I started out with not even wanting to do a show, like people like talking me into it. Oh, hey, you have so much to say. You should just do a show like this. And so I started out with Accidental Activists and then Beauty and the Boomer and the Dive. I miss the Dive. You guys remember the Dive? It was our dive bar we'd hang out in every Monday night. It was a blast. Amber King came and hung out with us. It was a fun show. Anyways, I can't believe how far I've come. When I go and I look at my memories and, how I started out, the hokey setups I had big headphones on, and yeah. And I've got here because of you guys. I mean, you guys have supported the complete build of my studio and encouraged me and gave me confidence. I had the worst imposter syndrome. I'm just a girl from a trailer park. What am I doing here? Speaking of imposters, here we go. Let's get started. Would you support a Harris Joffrey's ticket in 2028? Yes or no? You can go ahead and answer in the chat. I think I know what your answer is going to be, but oh man, that's a golden ticket, ain't it? And let's see, I like this. As medical purge begins, staggering numbers of Americans have lost coverage. This was 2 days ago, June 4th. And RBN tweets out, reminder that this has happened under Democrats, not Republicans. Tell me more about your lesser of two evils. Yes, great point, RBN. You guys always kill it over there. Always, always. I very, very freaking rarely do I disagree with what those guys have to say. DC, thank you so much for the Super Ray. The funny thing about the official unquestionable narrative regarding the 100% real 2020 election, oh, can I say this? Is that the liberals claim it was the most secure election in history. Yes, they freaking do, don't they? Which implies that the Trump administration was responsible for improving our national election security. LOL, hashtag clown show. Absolutely. I had never thought of it that way. Yeah, they got to give Trump the credit then, right? If it was the most secure they'd ever seen, well, then it was Trump's administration that did it. Excellent point, DC. Excellent point. This story about Julian Assange. So I really need to put my glasses on. I can't see anything this morning. Breaking news on hashtag Assange Spain case. Folder called CIA has been found on UC Global director's laptop. I want to say dictator for everybody. And let's see, over 200 gigabytes of files not previously supplied by the police to the court. The content builds on the allegations of evidence that David Morales, a former Spanish soldier, spied on the meetings that the WikiLeaks founder and his lawyers held at the Embassy of Ecuador to the United Kingdom and sent the information to U.S. intelligence agencies. Are we shocked, guys? Are we shocked, or have we been saying this all along? Oh, we've been saying this all along. They 100% had a contract to go in with these private contractors and spy on everything that was happening in the Assange case. Go watch Ithaca. Stella Assange talks about how bad it was. I mean, they were trying to steal her child's dirty diaper so they could get DNA. I mean, the lengths that these guys, we know the lengths that U.S. intelligence agency and their assets will go to, right? So we're not shocked, but we're seeing a lot of movement, I think behind the scenes with this, because the U.S. is scrambling, trying to build a fucking case because they ain't got a case. I mean, Julian Assange is literally sitting in Belmarsh prison, not charged with anything. Not a goddamn thing. And the things that we want to charge him with in the US, they can't even charge him with. He's not even an American citizen. Oh, he's a traitor? How is he a traitor? He's not an American. Like, none of it makes sense. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of months, right? I'm hoping it would be sooner than that. Everybody hopes it would be sooner than that. So, okay, the big story of the day, guys. I got a couple of them, but we got to start out with Cornel West running for president. Now, I've always been a big supporter of Brother Cornel. I think he gives amazing speeches. He can fire you up from the pit of your gut when you're there at one of his live speeches. And I truly believe in his love and compassion for the human race. I really do. I absolutely feel that from him. I get nothing but that vibe from him. Why he's doing this shit, I'll give you my opinions as we get through this segment. And I got to give you my history, because I was the original regional director for the Northwest, which covered 3 states, I believe, Idaho, Washington, and Oregon, for Draft Bernie, which became the People's Party. It's had a couple of different morphs. It started out Draft Bernie, and then it was the Movement for a People's Party, because there wasn't enough people to just jump on and call it a People's Party. And if there's no people there to make it a party, is it really a People's Party? So that was that intake. And then now it's, I don't know if it's still called the Movement for a People's Party or if it's the actual People Party. But I will tell you about my experience as we go on. But I want to hear from Cornel. And I did grab some of the Twitter threads, because there's a lot of input and a lot of things we really need to cover. So let's get started.
In these bleak times, I have decided to run for truth and justice, which takes the form of running for president of the United States as a candidate for the People's Party, I enter into quest for truth. I enter into quest for justice. And the presidency is just one vehicle to pursue that truth and justice, what I've been trying to do all of my life. I come from a tradition where I care about you. I care about the quality of your life. I care about whether you have access to a job with a living wage, decent housing, women having control over their bodies, health care for all, de-escalating the destruction of the planet, the destruction of American democracy. Democracy creates disruption. It creates an eruption. It creates an interruption. Wide from below, the energies of everyday people is manifest. And I know there are precious people in your life who you care for. That's why it's important for you to be involved, important for you to participate. We're not talking about hating anybody. We're talking about loving. We're talking about affirming. We're talking about empowering those who have been pushed to the margins, because neither political party wants to tell the truth about Wall Street, about Ukraine, about the Pentagon, about big tech. Neo-fascists like Brother Trump or milquetoast neoliberals like Brother Biden. Wow, I'm so happy to make a world-shaking decision. You know what I mean? Well, I know gangsters when I see them. And gangster's not a subjective expression. It's an objective condition. Do we have what it takes? We shall see. But some of us are going to go down fighting, go down swinging with style and a smile, accenting the best in you and trying to tease out the best in me. Let's do it together.
So what do you guys think? What do you think? I think he's genuine. The things he says, he absolutely is. He does care about you. I get that from having conversations with him in the past, from hearing his speeches. You know, let's see. I saw him in Philly. I saw him in Chicago, and I might have seen him in Seattle once or maybe once, but I've always supported him. You know, I didn't agree with some of the pushback from, you know, that little clique that came out, which was Nina Turner and of course AOC. And DC, I'm going to answer your question. I will get there. Just give me a second. Let's talk about his support of AOC and a few things first. So Sister AOC hates the greed, indifference, and corruption in America and political and economic life because of her love of people and justice. So that was 2020. And yeah, I don't tend to agree with that one. But you know what? He gets duped just like the rest of us, right? I mean, especially when you get to know these people and you're talking to them and they're blowing smoke up your ass. Of course, you're going to believe them. So, okay, I think this is going to get to your question, DC. I see no strategic path forward through the People's Party. Your only hope is at success is if you just push Nick Brana out of organizing and take on completely new leadership quickly. And less than that, you're endorsing his toxicity. Hashtag Ralph Nader. Let's see. Brother Bernie and Brother Trump are authentic human beings in a stark contrast to the donor-driven opponents. Or Cornell said that in 2015. And I get where he was thinking that, right? And he got a lot of pushback on that one. And listen, somebody said, please don't. If you do, the fascists will win. Of course. Okay, so I do love this question about the People's Party and Nick Brana. So absolutely, DC said, let me get the question and then I'll answer it. Did I start it? Yeah, there it is. Okay, Chanda, haven't you been pretty vocal about the need for a third party since the Greens are completely compromised? Yes, absolutely. I have been. And so quick recap, guys. I came through the Democratic Party. I was a part of the Democratic Party all through 2016, 2017, 18, 19, and 20. I really didn't drop out till 21. And I did that for Bernie. But I knew when I left Philadelphia in 2016 that absolutely the Democratic Party was corrupt and rotten to its fucking core. And if we wanted real change, we were going to have to start pushing a third party. And so in August of 2016, I immediately pivoted to the Green Party. I signed up to the Green Party. We did not have a Green Party chapter in our area. There was one that had been established, but ironically, our local Dems had control of the account and the information because they were both, I guess. I don't know. We never could have recovered that account. So I applied for a job with Jill Stein, which I never even got a FU letter or anything. You know, I went through the whole hassle of resumes and cover letters. And, you know, I had never been into politics. So, but I thought I'd give it a try. But anyways, I got out there and I campaigned for Jill Stein, and I know the support she had. I watched the support that the Green Party did have in August, September, and October of 2016. It was insane. Pretty much everybody who was Bernie or bust pivoted to Jill Stein. So when I see the results of the 2016 election and the numbers that Jill got, plus I was a trained vote observer. I went through vote training in 2016. So I was there to observe the 2016 vote. So I know a lot about that, which I'm on YouTube this morning. So I'm going to be really careful about what I say. But I immediately went into the Green Party. But here's the thing with the Green Party. The Green Party had so much infighting going on at the leadership, aspects, because I went and I met David Cobb and David Keith Cobb. And, I met some of these Green Party leaders, and the infrastructure wasn't there. They were cliquey. They don't have ballot access in so many states, blah, blah, blah. But they had the most infrastructure of any party, right? So at the same time, I'm chair of a huge committee of these Bernie people in 2016, 2017 that are looking, where do we go? Where do we take this energy? We had amazing energy that would every Friday, 100 people would take 2 hours, 3 hours out of their day in my town to show up and talk about how do we change it? What do we do? Do we march to the parade? How do we sign people up? We're volunteering at the fair. We're volunteering to register people to vote. All these people are looking, and we're being gaslit, duped, sheepdogged. I mean, half of them are cutting off and going into the indivisibles, because remember, that was the big indivisible push. The indivisibles pushed them right back into the Democratic Party. I'm screaming, stay out of the party. We need to stay separate of the party. And I literally pull my committee, which is the first actual progressive appointed committee in Washington state. I pull it out of the Dems. Well, it's a big production. We write a big formal letter, press release. I mean, our local papers covering it. It's a big deal. Half the party just left and walked away. So now where do we go? So I'm pushing draft Bernie, right? Because we want Bernie to leave the Democratic Party after what they did to him. Okay, he already lost the election. This is January, February, March of 2017. We want Bernie to leave, and because we still had the momentum, we still had the ground support, grassroots support at that time to break free and build a third party that would have been significant. And we knew it. So many of us knew it. So behind the scenes, we're traveling. Oh, and I even left out the Progressive Independent Party. I worked with Eric Blas and the Progressive Independent Party all through 2016. And, you have infrastructure problems. You have infighting. You have steering committees, and you have boards of directors. And, you have all this sneaky shit that's going on behind the scenes. Coups. I saw a coup happen in two of these parties. So, and of course, we had our revolution. I was working our revolution at the same time, because was that going to be the new party? I was looking for the new party. It didn't matter if you were going to be a party. I was there. I was working a lot of these parties simultaneously. PIP, the Party for Us, Draft Bernie, which turned into the People's Party. And honestly, guys, I've been to every party. It's not going to happen. There is nothing we can do with a party that's going to change anything with the way our election system is ran. And that's what I came out with after years and years and years and years of working with all of these committees and parties and future wannabe parties. And the only one I didn't go hang out with and check out was our local Libertarian Party. And I don't even know why, because honestly, right now, I think I agree with them a little bit more than I do anybody else, right? I really don't. Don't forget that Jill Stein raised $1 million to launch a recount in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And despite paying the fees required by the government and finding multiple counties did not even count green votes, federal judge shut it down. Yeah, there wasn't much fight back. Where'd the money go? Where did any of the money go, right? Where did any of it go? So yeah, I had jumped off the Green Party by around that time. By the time they were talking about the count and doing the count, I had moved on, and I was with Draft Bernie. Like, okay, we got to do this. And my really, really good friend, BJ Sharp, was the head of Nick Brana's steering committee, their main committee. And we met in Chicago in 2017, and her and a bunch of other people pulled me aside and said, we got a problem with infrastructure inside Draft Bernie. And I was like, okay, what do you mean? Is there no infrastructure? There was infrastructure, but it was top down. It was being formed top down. And so a bunch of them broke away, and it was a big deal. We wrote a big press release. We sent it to Nick and the whole entire People's Party. At that point, we were the People's Party, and we were like, these are the problems we see with Draft Bernie and the movement for a People's Party. And we're leaving. And we did. We left again. I literally broke up with so many parties in the last 5 years. But anyway, so then we pivoted and we started the Party for Us, the Party for Us. And I think you'll still find some information about the Party for Us out there. Party for Us was great. It was really rooted in racial awareness and equity. But sadly, I went back to work, got to live in the real world. I had to pay my bills. So I went back to work and didn't have as much time to give that party. And our leader sadly passed away. BJ died of a terrible cancer, and I see the people, or the Party for Us is still out there. I don't know who's running it, but it definitely lost its momentum when BJ passed away. Chad's here. Chad Wilson knows all about the Green Party. Jill Stein raised money for her 2016 presidential campaign committee. She raised hundreds of thousands. Yes, she did. I got body slammed by one of her Secret Service. She had Secret Service in Philly in 2016. I think most of the candidates did. And her freaking, oh my God, that beefy chick body checked me just bam. I was like, okay. I guess I don't need to talk to Jill. I kind of get that impression every time I do try to talk to Jill, but I know a lot of people around us really enjoyed her. My personal experiences in person with Jill every time have not been good. Okay. I had to bring you guys some more reactions because these are freaking hilarious. Vanguard says, love you, Dr. West, but with all due respect, the Green Party is right there and needs a good candidate such as yourself to get 5%. Running with the People's Party is unserious and beneath you. And Nina Turner's response was, elevate this thing, Dr. West. Yeah, he does love the squad, right? Nina's kind of like an unofficial member of the squad, an unelected member of the squad is the way I see her. Which makes me sad because I used to have as much love for Nina as I do for Cornell, but her shit during Medicare for All 2 years ago, that burned my ass to the ground. I'm done. I'm fucking done. DC, I've been a delegate for the Libertarian Party, AMA. Their nominating conventions are just as rigged fixed as the duopoly ones in 2020 for registers. Can't even verify whether or not we had met quorum. Oh my God, I hate quorum problems, right? And between the conventions taking place in Florida and the Zoom call for delegates who couldn't travel because of the pandemic. Yes, 2020, they loved, and the Dems have ran. I know our Dems locally have ran with that pandemic era control of the process now, right? Meetings aren't held in person. Who knows what the quorum is anymore? Nobody cares. There is no rules. And it sounds like the Libertarians are doing it too. But we know the Greens do it. Definitely have seen the Greens do it. So let's see. Here's another one. So this is what the People's Party had to say about it. So at Cornel West announces he's running for president with the People's Party. We are going to smash the world's duopoly and abolish poverty because we are running to win. Join us at CornelWest24.com. That's delusional. That's so sad, delusional. And you should know better, Nick. You should know better. And Compton J, Dr. Cornel West running for president is great. Dr. Cornel West running for president with corrupt Nick Brana is utter clown shit. Used car salesman Nick Brana tried to convince Jimmy Dore to run and couldn't, but he did convince Dr. West. And I didn't bring the rest of it because I just figured I don't need to dog that hard on Nick. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you my impression of Nick. And I have told you this before. So in 2017, when we were walking away from the People's Party, I didn't have a lot of knowledge on Nick. I had met him, I hung out with him. I honestly, I've spent more time with Nick's dad than I have Nick. And I don't know what that says about me, but or Nick's dad. Nick's dad, Rod, he's a hella cool guy. They're nice guys. I mean, at the end of the fucking day, we all want the same thing, right? We want the people in our country taken care of. We want out of these wars. We want good jobs and a future for our children, right? And I get that from Nick and his whole family. But do I think that he has used his friendship with people like Jimmy Dore and Cornel West to kind of keep himself going? Absolutely. Absolutely, I do. I mean, I won't go right out and say that, he's ripping people off. But I don't think that a lot of time, energy, or thought has been put into what the infrastructure of a new party looks like. Ballot access, recruiting, that was our problem. We didn't have a lot of people to help us with all of this stuff. It takes a lot of work for all, to get on the ballot. But when you know how our election is, does it really, really matter if you have ballot access or not? I don't think it does, guys. I really don't. So I'm not even going to shit on that. I just don't even care what the infrastructure inside that party looks like anymore. But I'm sure a lot of people, I see a lot of Bernie people already stepping up and jumping on board with Cornel. And, if I was delusional enough to think that it would change anything, I might. I know better. So I just want to show you a couple of flashbacks. So there is me hosting the first People's Party meeting. And of course, in the one on the bottom, that's a Draft Bernie meeting. Yeah, Draft Bernie. That was a huge meeting too. I had like 200 people locally turn out because they wanted a new party. They wanted a new freaking party. And, that's when people were still fired up to go and to change it. And that energy is gone. I held a meeting in the same building just a couple of months ago, and I think we got 3 people to show up. And we used to have hundreds to where they were scared we were going over capacity. And I think that's just a sign of how people have given up on the system. And they know. They know. And then let's see, the one up in the far right corner, that is the People's Summit 2017. We went there. To tell Bernie, Bernie kept saying that, the Russians interfered. From the time that he bowed the head to Hillary in August of 2016 to June of 2017, all he did was say how the Russians interfered, And so we went there. We went there with 2 intentions, and that was to ask Bernie to leave the Democratic Party and to join Draft Bernie, which would have become the People's Party. It was always going to be the People's Party, but the people got to name it. The people could do whatever. So that's why it was kind of a holding name, right? And to tell him the fucking Russians didn't do it. And we were so loud at the People's Summit. They hated us. All those shit libs around us, like, shut up, you're ruining our time. Like, F you, you're ruining our country, and yeah, he heard us. He definitely heard us. I mean, every time he would say Russian interference, we would it was the Clinton administration, and Bernie actually didn't like us. He got that. And he never responded once, not once, to any of the official press release questioning, will you join us? Will you meet with us? He just pretended like it didn't even exist at all, right? He just blew it off 100% freaking. So that was That was Bernie. And we should have known then, right? We should have known. We should have known. Why did it take till 2020 for me to finally jump Bernie's ship? And that was, I knew, I just was hoping that if I was there inside the Democratic Party and we got a shot again, at least some people with knowledge of Robert's rules and, you know, that understood the process would be there to fight back for Bernie. So I think there was a lot of us inside the Democratic Party still in 2020, didn't want to be there, but we were there just in case we needed to do battle. And as soon as it was over, I was done. I was done. I haven't been to a DIM meeting since. Here is me in 2017, June of 2017, leading a parade, leading a march through our big 4th of July parade locally with a People's Party banner. And we took a ration of shit in that parade. The Clintonites and the Democrats hated us. And I don't know why the Trumpers hated us so much. I got more shit from the Trumpers that day than any day. I don't know why. But nowadays, you know, we tend to agree on a lot more things. But back then, oh my God, we were socialist commies. Anyway, so this is a picture I took at the People's Summit. This thing had more money and more funding than any freaking event or convention I have been to. And that was a free camera that you could just walk up to and it would take your picture and print it out and give you a Polaroid. Do you see who's on the stage behind me in that picture? I know it's getting old, so it's like fading because it was some weird machine, but that's Jane Sanders. So she's literally standing on the stage speaking behind me as I'm taking that picture. But let me tell you just a little bit about that Soros Summit. And I'm going to call it a Soros Summit till the day I die. It had catered food. And I don't just mean, oh, here's a buffet. I mean, there was cuisine tables from around the world. Here's French food. Here's Italian food. I mean, it was insane. They fed us breakfast. They fed us lunch. We'd get packaged. I think my ticket cost $100 for 2 days. I mean, it wasn't like they were charging us $1,000 to get in there. And it was set up so, you know, a very hipster. There was couches and big curtains. And then on night 2, open fucking bar. Open bar for thousands of people. I'm not even kidding. Like, oh, here, I'll be honest with you guys. I got drunk with Nick Branagh's dad. I did, 100%. Well, and Nominky Const and Anoya Change, and there was so many. There was so many there. Amy Goodman was there. Naomi Klein was there. God, there was so many there. Nina was there. Don Lemon. What a piece of crap that guy is in person. Yeah, there was so many there. But yeah, I will always call that a Soros-funded event till the day I die. You got a free t-shirt. You got these cool sticker things that went on your phone that will hold your badge. You got lanyards. You got buttons. You got bags, you know, cloth bags. I mean, the amount of swag we came out of that convention with was insane. And what was that convention really about? Jimmy was there. I actually hung out with Jimmy. That convention was about trying to herd progressives that were so upset after everything that had happened to them for the last year back into the Democratic Party. That's all the People's Summit was about. And then, you know, I don't think there was a People's Summit for like 2 years after that. People were like, oh yeah, it sucked. Like it wasn't the same. And, you know, the NNU, the National Nurses, were the ones that supposedly put that on. And that money did not come from the National Nurses. I don't care what anybody says. So okay, let's get moving on, guys. So I think I got one more here. How ironic, 6 years ago today, I'm pushing Draft Bernie on my Facebook. I'm saying, love Jimmy Dore. So glad he's with Draft Bernie for the People's Party. Check it out. Sign a petition. And yeah, so there you guys go. I've been out there fighting for all these parties for a long time. So D-Day, June 6, 1944, AP and Corporate Media Day. Free Press dies June 6, 2016. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely it did, didn't it? It did. We got a couple of flashbacks to 2016 on the deck. I have one more. This was Nick's take on it. Or did I already share this? Let's see. Dan Rather. What is this? Dan Rather says, make no mistake, if Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was alive today, he would be stigmatized as woke and attacked accordingly. And the People's Party says, no, MLK's words were the opposite of woke. Rather, if he was alive today, he'd be stigmatized, smeared, and canceled by the woke mob. And oh my God, that thread, they were losing their effing mind. And I'm not here to defend Nick. I'm just here to say I agree with him. I agree. They would be smearing him. They would be canceling him. Who knows? They'd just be arresting him and locking him up, like they did. But that is the reality of what we live in. And I love this meme, guys. When people ask what's wrong with me, this was my childhood. Yeah, this was my childhood. Let's see if I can get caught back up with the chat. Okay. I think I'm caught up. So that's my take on the whole Cornel West running. I love Cornel, and I'm sure he's going to give some good speeches, and I'm sure he's going to bring a lot of conversations to the table that wouldn't have been there. But at the end of the day, don't send any money, guys. Don't send any money. You need that money more than he needs that money. I promise. He could probably get some big donors. He is still liked by a lot of the bigwigs in the Democratic Party. So keep your money. Shanda, are you sure the FBI wouldn't be helping MLK like Canada does with Matt? Is it Matt? I can't see. Well, Yona, let's talk about that. I brought a clip from Democracy Now! This is from just this week. And there's a new book called King Alive. It's a new biopic. And it says the FBI spying on how MLK criticized Malcolm X was fabricated. So we knew that, right? I knew that. Did you guys know that they tried to feud this fight between Malcolm X and King didn't like him, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the reality of all. That was more fuckery from the FBI. So let's hear this little clip. And I just got to say, really, Amy, it took you this long to figure it out?
For which he also interviewed more than 200 people, including many who knew King closely, like the singer, actor, and activist, the late, great Harry Belafonte. The book has also drawn attention for its revelation that King was less critical of Malcolm X than previously thought. Ig found the original transcript of an interview King did with Alex Haley, who's the author who collaborated with Malcolm X on his autobiography. The transcript shows how Haley misquoted and even made up part of King's response. In fact, King never said Malcolm has done himself or our people a great disservice, and King's comment about fiery, demagogic oratory was not related to Malcolm X. To talk about all of this, we're joined in Chicago by Jonathan.
So to me, that was just how it took Democracy Now! This long to actually put that shit together, and it had to be some dude writing a book to come on and talk about it, Jonathan Ig. We knew this, and anybody who's been paying attention knew this. So, Yona, I don't know. I mean, the FBI was already, messing and putting propaganda out there. So, yeah, who's to say he wouldn't have been an asset at that point, right? I don't know. I would. My gut wants to say no, that would never happen, but we know how the kind of control and propaganda that's out there and has been out there for years. And that was the whole point of this clip. I mean, right? Amy, took you a lot of years. Oh, what is this? Oh, this is so gross. Is this Comey? Oh, do you guys see Comey? We're going to talk a lot about Comey and the State Department here coming up. But what did Amber say? I got to get Amber's comments out. Let me see real fast. Amber said, we invited Cornel to a shit ton of events and he never showed up. He was too busy having lunch with Bernie to show up for Assange. Absolutely. I haven't seen much support for him on Assange and didn't say a damn thing about COVID. Right. And I find him kind of in that bubble with Chomsky where, oh, well, he's just going to trust the science and, do what you're supposed to do. They sent fake letters back in the day. It would have been so hard to confirm without internet. Oh, my God. Yeah, you're right. There's been so much fuckery in the last 100 years, especially, I mean, this day in history, right? SEC being created. So it's about the 19 teens, we have been totally screwed. I mean, they've had control. Yona at Shanda is so right because we live in a black male nation and BlackRock owns it. And right. And we all hear that King had an affinity for having side chicks. I'll put it that way. And, the FBI knew about it, and I'm sure they were already trying to leverage that, right? I mean, Epstein wasn't the first, guys. He really wasn't. And you should go check out johnnyvedmore.com, because he really goes back he goes back like 100 years on some of these original Epstein types that, were the first OSS assets and whatnot. So go check that out. Yeah, it's a really great series. The Hand, I think is what he calls it. Okay, let's talk about Comey, guys. Did you guys see this sickening interview he did? Do you think he's scared? I think he's just a little scared. So Glenn Greenwald says a report from one of the U.S. most well-regarded prosecutors just concluded that the FBI under Comey's launched criminal investigations against Trump with no evidentiary or legal basis. Okay, so let's hear from Comey.
You said that Trump poses a near existential threat to the rule of law. And this is something, similar language that I hear privately from national security officials, some people you and I both know, who will say this privately about what a second term could mean. But tell me a little bit about the specifics of what he could try to do. What do you mean by that?
Well, think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies. I'm sure I'm on the enemies list, because the president constitutionally does oversee the executive branch entirely, which includes the Department of Justice, prosecutors and investigators. And so he could direct that individuals be pursued. He could also direct all kinds of other conduct that people would maybe take to court to try to stop. But who enforces court orders? Mm-hmm. Mostly the United States Marshals Service, which is in part of the executive branch and reports to the president. And so President Trump could say, I don't care what the Supreme Court says or these district judges say. I'm telling the Marshals Service, don't enforce the court order. And so our Constitution really does give a rogue president, which is what this would be, tremendous power to destroy. And so that's why I'm trying to warn people. Given the way he said he intends to operate if he's reelected, this will be something we could never have imagined. Again, it seems like science fiction in a way, but it's what another 4 years of Donald Trump really promises, which is why people criticize CNN for their town hall. I want the American people to stare at the threat that we're facing and understand that they cannot take the next election off.
Oh, it's so gross. It's so slimy and so gross. And it just speaks volumes to how freaking scared the Democrats are, right? It'll be a retribution presidency and it'll be 4 years of him coming after us. Oh, you mean like the last 2 years of what we just watched you guys do to Trump? Which I'm sure Trump would even do half of what you guys just did to him. The hypocrisy knows no bounds with the Democratic Party. And this is early damage control, I think is what this really is, right? Oh, we told you it was going to be bad. Take a look. It's your fault because you took the election off. That's what they're implying. And I wanted to remind people of what Comey did and why would he be on Trump's hit list? Why would he? Oh, it might be this clip that I went and dug out of C-SPAN for y'all in August of 2016 when Comey's telling us that Hillary Clinton had no intent. Now, mind you, they're charging Trump with mishandling classified documents, right? All these hearings are going on and testimony and which I brought a report on that next. So let's listen to what Comey said. I think I brought the last 4 minutes of this was like a 15-minute speech. We were all waiting, right? All summer, all of the Bernie people were like, oh, the FBI's got to get her. There's so much evidence. We knew there was so much evidence. And I'll never forget, it was a hot August night. And, I plopped my phone up. Oh my gosh. And we wait and we're like, oh, he says this was bad and this was illegal and she did this wrong. And then the very end of the speech, he's like, yeah, but she didn't do it intentionally. So I brought you the last of it.
Now let me tell you what we found. Although we did not find clear evidence that Secretary Clinton or her colleagues intended to violate laws governing the handling of classified information, there is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information. For example, 7 email chains concern matters that were classified at the top secret special access program at the time they were sent and received. Those chains involve Secretary Clinton both sending emails about those matters and receiving emails about those same matters. There is evidence to support a conclusion that any reasonable person in Secretary Clinton's position or in the position of those with whom she was corresponding about those matters should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation. In addition to this highly sensitive information, we also found information that was properly classified as secret by the U.S. intelligence community
Should have known.
at the time it was discussed on email. That is, excluding any later up-classified emails. None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system, but their presence is especially concerning because all of these emails were housed on unclassified personal servers, not even supported by full-time security staff like those found at agencies and departments of the United States government, or even with a commercial email service like Gmail.
But it wasn't her
I
fault.
think it's also important to say something about the marking of classified information. Only a very small number of the emails here containing classified information bore markings that indicated the presence of classified information. But even if information is not marked classified in an email, participants who know or should know that the subject matter is classified are still obligated to protect it. And while not the focus of our investigation, we also developed evidence that the security culture of the State Department, in general, and with respect to the use of unclassified systems in particular, was generally lacking in the kind of care for classified information that's found elsewhere in the U.S. government.
No way.
With respect to potential computer intrusion by hostile actors, we did not find direct evidence that Secretary Clinton's personal email domain, in its various configurations since 2009, was hacked successfully. But given the nature of the system and of the actors potentially involved, we assess we would be unlikely to see such direct evidence. We do assess that hostile actors gained access to the private commercial email accounts of people with whom Secretary Clinton was in regular contact from her personal account.
CrowdStrike, yeah, whatever.
We also assess that Secretary Clinton's use of a personal email domain was both known by a large number of people and readily apparent.
Everybody knew.
She also used her personal email extensively while outside the United States, including sending and receiving work-related emails in the territory of sophisticated adversaries. Given that combination of factors, we assess it is possible that hostile actors gained access to Secretary Clinton's personal email account. So that's what we found. Finally, with respect to our recommendation to the Department of Justice. In our system, the prosecutors make the decisions about whether charges are appropriate based on evidence that the FBI helps collect. Although we don't normally make public our recommendations to the prosecutors, we frequently make recommendations and engage in productive conversations with prosecutors about what resolution may be appropriate given the evidence. In this case, given the importance of the matter, I think unusual transparency is in order. Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case.
Nobody.
Prosecutors necessarily weigh a number of factors before deciding whether to bring charges. There are obvious considerations like the strength of the evidence, especially regarding intent. Responsible decisions also consider the context of a person's actions and how similar situations have been handled in the past. In looking back at our investigations into the mishandling or removal of classified information, we cannot find a case that would support bringing criminal charges on these facts.
Can't.
All the cases prosecuted involved some combination of clearly intentional and willful mishandling of classified information or vast quantities of information exposed in such a way as to support an inference of intentional misconduct or indications of disloyalty to the United States or efforts to obstruct justice. We do not see those things here. To be clear, this is not to suggest that in similar circumstances, a person who engaged in this activity would face no consequences. To the contrary, those individuals are often subject to security or administrative sanctions, but that's not what we're deciding now. As a result, Although the Department of Justice makes final decisions on matters like this, we are expressing to Justice our view that no charges are appropriate in this case.
Ah, the good old bad days. Remember those days? It's just disgusting. And I mean, I didn't bring you the first 10 minutes of that, but the first 10 minutes, he breaks down the numbers of how many emails, how many were classified, how many were top secret, how many were, sensitive, blah, blah, blah. And you compare that to what they've been trying to charge Trump with his mishandling of classified documents. I mean, it's nothing even comparable. She had her own server, which he says was not even guarded or protected. I mean, we were scratching our heads, shaking our heads. But remember, we had seen the Loretta Lynch tarmac thing go down just before this. So a lot of us knew this was coming, right? I think they roll Comey out because a lot of people think that he looks and acts a lot like, what is that? Criminal Minds, like the FBI director from Criminal Minds. Look, he's just a good guy bringing justice. And I think that a lot less Americans believe that anymore, but that's why they roll him out. Just gross. Just gross. Always was, still is. So, okay, now let's get into what they're charging Trump with. So lawyers for Donald Trump met with the Justice Department officials on Monday as a decision nears on whether to bring charges over the handling of classified documents at the former president's Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida. Look at the fucking hypocrisy of this. I mean, it is insane and glowing. Bye-bye. Yeah, Arnie Oz, thanks for stopping by. We haven't seen you in a while. We love, can't get no respect. It's straight up hypocrisy. I mean, 100% hypocrisy. But that's not the only hypocrisy that's going on, right? We got a couple of whistleblowers out there, and one's in the FBI that is trying to tell the world just how crooked the Bidens are, just like we tried to tell the world how crooked the Clintons were. Well, same smell, different year. Let's hear from Fox News about, I think this is the whistleblower I've been telling you guys about. This is the one that is hiding, I think, in Israel.
9 of the 10 people that we've identified that have very good knowledge with respect to the Bidens, they're one of 3 things, Maria. They're either currently in court, they're currently in jail, or they're currently missing. Honestly, Maria, they fear for their lives. Not only are the Biden lawyers and the Biden White House intimidating them, the media is trying to intimidate and discredit them.
And that was House Oversight Committee Chairman, Congressman James Comer, with me on this program last month on the tremendous pressure that whistleblowers and informants are facing for speaking out against President Biden and his family and their influence peddling scheme. The New York Post's Miranda Devine is now reporting one of those key witnesses, former Israeli Defense Force Colonel Gal Luft, is alive and living in an undisclosed location. Luft vanished last month while on bail, awaiting extradition to the United States to face charges related to arms export controls and the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Allegations that he vehemently denies. He tweeted this: "I've been arrested in Cyprus on a politically motivated extradition request by the U.S. The U.S. claiming I'm an arms dealer. It would be funny if it weren't tragic. I've never been an arms dealer. DOJ is trying to bury me to protect Joe, Jim, and Hunter Biden. Shall I name names?" He writes. Meanwhile, tomorrow, FBI Director Christopher Wray is expected to deliver to the House Oversight Committee a subpoenaed document alleging then Vice President Joe Biden was involved in a $5 million bribery scheme with foreign nationals in exchange for U.S. foreign policy decisions. Wray facing Comer's threat of contempt of Congress charges until the release of that.
So this is just one, right? These are whistleblowers, to be clear, but we see a lot of the same tactics that they're using against journalists, especially like Julian Assange, which, let's be clear, Julian Assange is not a whistleblower. He's a publisher journalist. And I am interested in hearing what this guy has to say. He was pretty close when it comes to the financial records and how it was being moved. And how it was going to one family member to another family member, right? So this is just one thing that's going on. There's another one with an FBI whistleblower who apparently has documents, and I don't know if it's just he scribbled down something or if there's an actual file document within the FBI, but the committee that's hearing it this week will not let that document out in fear for this whistleblower. And I guess it exists though, because committee members can go look at it for special approval type of thing. So yeah, I'm keeping an eye on both these cases. I mean, we have a State Department that has been strangled by the Clinton regime since the 2012. And we know it's all the same leaders, the same puppet heads. You got Obama, you got the Clintons and the Bidens, right? So it all goes hand in hand. They all use the same tactics. And I hope that Biden doesn't get as bad of, how do I put this? The Clintons, a lot of their friends have had issues and have had accidents. And I think a lot of people around Biden's are starting to have accidents too, if you know what I mean. And let's hope that they can bring these two whistleblowers in and we can get some information. I mean, we know all three branches are corrupt though, guys. So I don't expect shit from our judicial system, just like I don't expect shit from Congress or, the executive branch either. So I don't hold my breath, but I am interested in hearing what they have to say. And it sounds like they got some pretty damning evidence. So an entire family above the law, the Bidens. And then I love this. This literally was a tweet. So I saw this tweet that says the Bidens. And of course, a Democrat had to come in and say, if you want Hunter Biden, a private citizen, has never worked for the U.S. government, investigated, but you don't want Jared or Ivanka investigated for earning $640 million while in the White House and then giving $2 billion from Saudi Arabia, you are hypocritical. You are hypocrites conducting a witch hunt. Now, isn't that how we play in the uniparty? Just pop it back and forth, right? Yeah, the nepotism is disgusting all the way around. I don't care if it's Trump or if it is Biden. Yeah, it was gross. I was screaming about that when Trump was in office. Who does that? Who hires their own damn kid? Come on. Sounds like a scheme. And it was, right? No, it was. Talking about scams and schemes. So debt ceiling deal puts no limits on Ukrainian aid. Emergency spending that has been used to arm Ukraine is expected, and it would also be used to arm Taiwan. Oh, imagine that. Imagine that. And then did you guys see the bullshit propaganda that the Times put out where it says, Nazi symbols on Ukrainian front lines highlighted as a thorny issue in history. And when you go and read the article, it's like, well, some of them, let me see, I've got it. Let me pull it up. I mean, it's just disgusting. What worries me is that the Ukrainian context is that people in the Ukraine who are in leadership positions either don't or are not willing to acknowledge or understand how these symbols are viewed outside of the Ukraine. Basically, they're just saying, it doesn't happen all the time. And, they're Nazis. They're not Nazis. No, just a few of them have patches that look like that. Basically, it's disgusting all the way around. Oh. So I had to bring you guys two. One's Anthony Blinken giving a statement this weekend on Russia's isolation. We have isolated Russia 100%. They're all cut off, man. They're suffering. They're about to cave and bend the knee to us because they just can't handle it. But that's funny because we know different. We know better. But let's hear from Blinken first, and then we'll hear from Kirby at the State Department.
Prior to the war, President Putin regularly used Russia's influence in international organizations to try to weaken the United Nations Charter. Today, Russia is more isolated on the world stage than ever.
Yeah.
At least 140 nations, 2/3 of UN member states, have repeatedly voted in the UN General Assembly to affirm Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, to reject Putin's attempts to illegally annex Ukrainian territory, to condemn Russia's aggression and atrocities, and to call for a peace consistent with the principles of the United Nations Charter. Governments from the West and East, North and South, have voted to suspend Russia from numerous institutions, from the UN Human Rights Council to the International Civil Aviation Organization. Each rebuke and loss for Moscow is not only a vote against Russia's aggression, it's a vote for the core principles of the United Nations Charter. And countries from every part of the world are supporting efforts to hold Russia accountable for its war crimes and crimes against humanity.
What about ours?
From creating a special UN commission to document the crimes and human rights violations committed in Russia's war, to assisting investigations by prosecutors in Ukraine and at the International Criminal Court.
That was so gross and greasy and just, that was just nauseating, 100% nauseating, like they always are. And that is the complete opposite of what's happening. And we know that. What about our war crimes? Why, the world is committed to holding Russia accountable. We blow Russia away with what we have done. Are you kidding? Gregory Walker, thank you so much for the Super Ray. Shandog, how do you get the FBI to arrest themselves? I wish I knew. I really do. Well, they do it all the time when they're agent provocateurs, right? This is such a good stream today. Thank you, Kate. I'm just saying it like I see it, right? It's all we can do. You either agree with me or you don't, doesn't matter. I still love you. Okay, now here's the little weasel Kirby.
To look at this and say the reason that the Russian army is on NATO, the Russian army is at NATO's doorstep is because NATO has expanded rather than the Russians expanding? That, in other words, NATO has moved closer to Russia rather than Russia moving closer to NATO? Is that not an accurate way to look at this?
I think that's the way President Putin probably looks at it. It's certainly not the way that we look at it.
You don't think that NATO has expanded eastward toward Russia?
NATO has expanded,
okay.
and the expansion has been a good thing for...
So the reason that the Russian army is at NATO's doorstep is not the fault of the Russian army, it's not the Russian army that's done it. It's NATO has moved closer to move
I'm pretty
east.
sure it wasn't NATO who was ordering, upwards of 15 battalion tactical groups to within 10 kilometers of the border with Ukraine. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't NATO who put little green men inside Ukraine to destabilize eastern cities.
I'm pretty sure that Ukraine is not a member of
little
NATO.
green men.
So unless that's changed,
it's not
okay.
changed. But I'm pretty sure the movement by Russia is Russia's decision.
If NATO has moved east, the reason that the Russian army is closer or on NATO's doorstep is because NATO moved.
NATO is not an anti-Russia alliance. NATO is a security
alliance.
It is.
Unfortunately, for 50 years, it was an anti-Soviet
exactly.
alliance. So
Where's
do you
the
not
Soviet
understand
Union?
it? So do you not understand how, or can you not even see how the Russians will perceive it as a threat, and the fact that it keeps getting closer to their border, while their troops, I mean, the places where their troops are, you say their troops are, and may have been in Ukraine and Georgia, are not NATO members.
I'm not going to pretend to know what goes in President Putin's mind or Russian military commanders. I mean, I barely got a history degree at the University of South Florida.
Yeah,
what I can tell you
is
that NATO is a defensive alliance. It remains a defensive alliance.
Fair enough, but it has moved east, correct? I mean, that's just a fact.
It has expanded, absolutely.
Right, exactly.
But there's no reason for anybody to think the expansion is a hostile or threatening move. And we've been saying that throughout the last 15 years, man.
It's like you're moving closer to Russia. You're blaming the Russians for being close to NATO.
No.
That's exactly what Hagel's
We're blaming the Russians for violating the territorial integrity of Ukraine and destabilizing the security
situation. Which is not a NATO
Europe.
member. Which is not a NATO member.
I see
Other countries feel threatened.
Well, there you are. Because other countries feel threatened, we are justified to encroach on Russia. And he just admits it. Like, yeah, we expanded east. We did. That is so gross. That is that I love where he admits that he doesn't know shit. We know you're an idiot. We've been saying it for a while. So you didn't have to tell us. We were aware that you didn't know shit about history. And just gross. And to say that that NATO isn't an anti-Russia alliance, that was its whole fucking purpose during the Cold War. Are you, what? Oh my gosh! He got some talking to after that one. Just too stupid. Caitlin Johnstone just dropped a great article you should go read. It's called "China Places Country Dangerously Close to U.S. Warships." And that's the way it always is, right? I mean, we have the right in international waters. I didn't bring the clip. I'm sure you've all seen it. One of our, what is it? A destroyer gets one of the Canadian or one of the Chinese boats gets kind of close. I mean, it doesn't look threatening at all. It's not like there was any kind of threat, and then we take the stance of like, how dare you have your boats out in the water in front of your own country? This is international. We need to patrol here. It's so disgusting. I mean, when you just step back and you look at the bigger global picture, guys, we are the Germans in 1939. That's all I got to say. That's the way I feel. That's the way I feel. And we're just steaming ahead like we're right. We know everything. Everybody needs to be like us. Russia sent a letter last October to the UN regarding the dam and the violations. Yeah, or is it darn with the violations? Yeah, they did. They did. And this is over so much more than just the territory and the Ukraine. It's over water rights. It's over oil rights. It's pipelines. We know, but they don't give a fuck. Yeah, they do. They don't. We're just steaming full steam ahead. Like, this is a good thing, guys. It'll be good for our economy. War is always great for our economy. And that's where we're going. It's springs, or I mean, it's now summer. Today is the anniversary D-Day. So I expect to see a lot of movement in that region. He's like a president of stupid people. yeah, he kind of is, right? It's so sad. Hey, but good news, guys. You heard Chuck Todd's on his way out. Bye-bye, Chuck Todd. Chuck Todd now leaving NBC's political panel show, Meet the Press. Aw, but what funny shit will I have to make fun of every Sunday? Oh, wait, Kristen Welker to replace Chuck Todd as moderator on Meet the Press. And darn time, too. Now, can we talk about Andrea Mitchell? Yeah, can we? Let's not. Let's just not. Oh, no, that sucks. Chris Cuomo feels so bad for him. But don't worry. You'll land in a comfy place. You'll probably land over on News Nation with the rest of all of these hacks. That's where they keep ending up at. Right? I'm just going to play a few seconds of this just to show you. And you can go over and watch it. I don't know, it's like 4 or 5 minutes long. So basically, this is Turncoat Dawn made this. And this is Aaron and Max talking about how he confronted her. And I know you all have seen it. I covered it. Everybody's covered it. It's some of the funniest shit ever. Max calls her out in the middle of the speech. But they bring Rachel in to listen to the conversation. It's kind of funny.
What was happening in reality was the Trump administration was trying to overthrow Russia's ally, Venezuela. It was tearing up arms control treaties, the INF Treaty and the Open Skies Treaty. It was sending weapons to Ukraine that Obama wouldn't send because Obama deemed those weapon shipments to be too escalatory. It was conducting exercises on Russia's borders. It was bullying NATO states to spend more on their military. And Maddow and everyone who followed her lead had to ignore all of these developments of Trump in real life escalating tensions with Russia because it undermined her conspiracy theory that really Putin was giving Trump orders.
Okay, so you can go watch the whole thing over on Twitter. That was funny. Good job. I love those mock-ups because some people fall for them. And Max is the boss, man. He gets the total best thing I've seen all year. Rachel, the speech is boring and paranoid. Can you explain why you promoted the Steele dossier, which has been proven to be a lie? Can you even be held accountable for the lies you told America? Max, God, man, he gets the boss glasses every time for that one. Keep it up. I have a feeling that he's not going to be getting into a lot of those places any longer. So I have another anniversary on this day in history. I think this was from yesterday. Do you remember when a Colorado man had enough of the corrupt local government and he spent 18 months making himself a tank and then he bulldozed everything? Yeah, we actually had that same thing happen in my community. I'd say probably right maybe a year or two after this. Maybe the guy took his he literally got on his bulldozer and he bulldozed like 3 blocks in my local town in Port Angeles. He went to prison for it, but he's a local folk hero around here, I can tell you that. They were selling t-shirts, it's funny. So let's check it out.
A bulldozer levels a building in Granby, Colorado. Then another. And another. It's part of a meticulously planned citywide demolition project.
The bulldozer went crazy.
But this plan wasn't put together by city engineers or construction workers.
Just received a 911 call reporting that there is an out-of-control bulldozer.
It's the brainchild of an angry man with a...
Shoot, guys. I just realized that was Discovery. I don't know where I ripped it from, but If I let it play, YouTube's going to smack me. So yeah, the Killdozer. I'll just tell you how it went. That guy had iron plates welded all the way around it. I mean, he went after he was having a land dispute, I think, with local city government, and they were just being the way it is, right? They're in control, and he finally had enough. And he ran around that town for a couple of hours, and finally they dropped some incendiary devices and killed him, I believe. Sad story. That's what it has to come down to. And that's why I bring it, not to glorify the violence of it at all. No way. But people get pushed to their limits by this top-down system that we live in. And I understand where his frustration and, anger came from. It's no better than, what we see happening at a mall or a school. So I don't glorify it at all, but I see where people get pushed to that point for sure. Okay, good news for a few people in England. UBI's rolling out. UBI income of nearly $2,000 a month to be trialed in England for the first time. The article says they're going to give them like $1,900, the equivalent of like $1,900, a little more than that. They're only giving it to like 30 people, I believe. No, that's the wrong article. It's just a test group that they're just doing. Trying to find how many. I think it's only like 20 people or something. And they're tracking them as well as another group, their control group, that they're not giving any money to. And they just want to prove that, this will help. And there's so many bigwigs out there that support this. Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Richard Branson are all in favor of it. Critics say that UBI would be too costly and therefore unsustainable, or that the government money could be spent more effectively through other social support measures. And so we've seen a lot of these UBI trials, with them saying AI is coming for your job. And now they're going to have CBDCs. So, it's just a control mechanism, 100% a control mechanism. God, what did I experience this week? I went through a control mechanism that pissed me off. It was with one of our cards now. I think that if you have a government issued card, you can't pull money from those little independent owned ATMs any longer. It either has to be a big bank or it has to be a grocery store with cash back. So if you got one of those handy dandy government cards, that's what you get to look forward to. Give you a taste of UBI, then yank it when you misbehave. Yeah, right. You didn't go to the class, or you posted something you weren't supposed to. We don't like your political affiliation, so no UBI for you. Or what do they call it? They call them sanctions on welfare. They will actually sanction your payments. So they've done this for years and years and years as it is. Like they call them overpayments, or they'll just sanction you. That fish just did not sit right last night, man. Come on, fish, settle down. It was good. Oh, it was so good. Baked Alaska, and I encrusted it in some toasted almonds. Oh, it was excellent, but I'm allergic to seafood, so I don't get along really well with seafood. I thought this was hilarious. Please tell me if this isn't real, because if this is real, oh my God, we've lost our effing mind. So this is Clown Planet, I believe. Okay, so it's called hobby horsing. hobby horsing. And I don't know, is this real that they actually considered this or have approved this for the next coming Olympics? This is, if it's real, it's too crazy to even wrap my mind around. And we live in crazy town as it is, but come on, guys, is that real? Is that real? I don't think it's real. I don't know. Somebody's reporting that it's real. But hey, it looks fun. It looks like the horse looks real, at least when the mane's moving from side to side. And I know my grandkids could have kicked ass a couple of years ago in that event. I mean, we were 2,000 mile race. Yeah. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. So 10-year challenge, 2012, 150,000 minimum wage, 725. Oh, 10 years later, it is 550,000. Minimum wage is still 725. Yeah, that is true. But, there's some stuff going on with the housing market. And, we've been reporting to you how BlackRock and these big freaking conglomerates are buying up all the houses in our country, right? They're not just doing it here, they're doing it abroad too. But this little report says they've slowed way the hell down. So I thought I'd bring you this. It might be good news or it might not for some of you, but it looks like we're about to see a big change in the housing market and the rental market, therefore.
Wall Street landlords are abandoning the U.S. housing market. They've stopped buying, and very soon they're going to start selling. With Fortune reporting that Wall Street is running away from the U.S. housing market, with Wall Street buyers like Blackstone, Open Door, and Invitation Homes purchasing 90% fewer homes at the start of 2023 compared to 2022. Which is, of course, great news for you as a regular home buyer or a small investor out there. It means you're not going to have as much competition from these big Wall Street players, especially in certain housing markets throughout the South. Data from Redfin shows that in 2022, the biggest markets for investor home purchases were cities like Jacksonville, Atlanta, Phoenix, where in certain zip codes like in Wynwood and Miami, the investors bought 65% of the houses. So I'm expecting home prices to go down by a lot more in these markets and zip codes in the South because there's a vicious combination of three factors that is causing these Wall Street buyers to run scared. Number one, skyrocketing evictions are leading to higher vacancy rates in empty apartments and homes. Number two, rent growth is declining substantially and going negative in many cities. But perhaps most importantly, number three, higher interest and mortgage rates are making it impossible for these investors to turn a profit. As you can see very clearly on this graph, which tracks the 30-year fixed mortgage rate, the orange line, compared to the cap rate or investor profit for these Wall Street landlords, the green line. And what do you notice, folks? The 30-year fixed mortgage rate now being 6.4%. That's roughly the cost of capital that these investors have to pay to their banks. That's higher than the 4.6% cap rate or return they get from buying a property and renting it out. And one of the Wall Street buyers that has cut back purchases the most is Invitation Homes. They're actually the largest single family home owner in America. They own over 85,000 houses. But you can see from this Fortune article that after the mortgage rate shock, their number of acquisitions, the green bars, has now plummeted to the lowest levels in years, while their dispositions have actually gone up. So Invitation Homes is actually selling more homes right now than they're buying. But I know what some of you are thinking at this point in the video. You're like, Nick, well, that sounds great that investors are buying fewer homes, but why isn't that translating to home prices going down faster in my city? And in fact, the housing market in America has had a little rally over the last month or two. According to Zillow, home prices went up in March with inventory levels still very, very low. And folks, the problem has everything to do with stubborn sellers.
I don't think I put a cut on that one. A very interesting take on what's going on. I love graphs. I'm like I'm like Carmel or Harris that way. That's good news for renters, right? But why is this happening? It's because we have so many people who are unhoused right now. And they bought up all these houses. Wages haven't gone up. People can't afford. You put a house up for rent that is out of reach. People won't be able to rent it. And so I hope this translates to good news for not just buyers, but for renters too, because there's going to be more renters. There is more renters in the world than there is buyers at this point. And we need some kind of fucking relief out here. And a lot of people have been evicted. That's why there's a lot of vacancies, right? We've been reporting it since 2020. I mean, we knew under a pandemic, what was happening. People were not able to make their rent. They were just, their store was closed. They were out of work, and here's $1,000 twice during the pandemic and pay your rent, and that wasn't the reality for so many people. And So I hope they realize that sitting on empty houses isn't making them money and they start lowering the prices, because that's what we need. Amber says house prices are not going down. They are buying with cash. It's the rental market to watch, and it's all apartments. Get in van. Double-digit interest rates are coming. Oh, are cunning. You mean cunning or coming? She said coming. Okay. You see, you knew I was going to ask, right? It's all foreign investment. Yeah, it's all foreign investment. And that's scary. That's scary for us. But, I see more and more people downsizing, moving into trailer parks. I got to tell you, when I first moved here, I was depressed. Like, I'm living in a trailer park again. I always wanted the American dream of a Rambler, a 3-bedroom Rambler, on a 1/4 acre with, picket fence. I mean, that's just the American dream, but it's unobtainable for most of us that have, most of us Gen Xers have been working our asses off and our lives off because wages have never rose in our life, right? I mean, anything, we just saw the loss of so many jobs too. So we'll keep an eye on that. I do think that I do hope that's a plus for the rental market, but you're right, Amber, it's all foreign freaking investors, but they already got what they want commuting. Funny. Good news, guys. The AOC press release parody account is back up. Of course, it went down. And I'm back. You mad, bro? I'm starting from scratch because my previous 400,000 followers were all racist, bigots, xenophobes, and homophobes, transphobes, white supremacists, and domestic terrorists. You tell them, AC. You better work it, bitch. That account is funny, so I am glad to see it back. Did you guys see that Matt Orfalea posted that, what was it, Mike Tyson's interview with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was taken down by YouTube yesterday? I have it, and I'm saving it for Friday. What did he say that made it to where YouTube had to pull that interview down? We're talking Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson and RFK Jr. Think that would be one that they would leave alone because it would get a lot of clicks and a lot of money, but no, they took it down. But I have it, and I will play it for you on Friday. Okay, guys, we have some more whistleblowers out there we need to talk about, and these are the UFO whistleblowers. Now, things are about to get really hairy in the whole UFO government conspiracy cover-up. We got some whistleblowers. We got a couple of committees that are going to start hearing testimony on this. And is this propaganda? Absolutely, 100%. It's soft disclosure. I think that they need us to be scared so that way they can get more money for Space Force. But let's hear these two. I brought two reports. They're kind of long, but I have to make them long for you guys to get the information. And of course, it's a News Nation where every shoddy, half-rate, former CNN anchor lands. So I don't know what that tells you. Let's check it out.
Hard to wrap your mind around this. I've been working on this for the past couple of weeks. I'm still having a hard time processing all of it. Over the last couple of years, it sort of became mainstream to discuss UFOs. The government has released videos. They've acknowledged that we don't know what some of this stuff is out there that we have on camera, but this really takes it all to another level. For the very first time, the world is about to hear from a former high-level U.S. intelligence officer who says the government has some of the unidentified craft in its possession. He is revealing these exclusive details about the secret government program.
We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
We have all seen these blurry videos of unidentified flying objects. Video evidence, if you will, that old tales of UFOs may not all be conspiracy theories. In recent years, Congress starting an official U.S. government Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, recently renamed the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO. And now in a News Nation exclusive, David Grush, an Air Force veteran, former member of that task force, and veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, is formally blowing the whistle on secrets he says no one has ever shared publicly before.
You are one of the most trusted former intelligence officials in the U.S. defense and intelligence establishment.
Yes, I was.
You were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
Grush sitting down with award-winning investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, who's reporting for News Nation and has spent years reporting on the UFO question.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
You're kidding.
No. I thought it was totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding in me. They approached me. I have plenty of current and former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me they were a part of a program. They named the program. I've never heard of it. And they told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof, that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
Grush alleges the U.S. government has recovered non-human craft for decades. He's filed a whistleblower complaint saying he gave what he calls the classified proof to Congress and the intelligence community inspector.
So, okay, that was the first clip. And yeah, I mean, telling us things that, okay, we have a retrieval program that goes out there and gets these things. Apparently it happens all the time, and we have quite a few of them. And so I brought this next clip because it really gets into how the government is involved in it right now in exposing this, right? What committees are going to hear this and what's coming in the future, because this is going to be a big deal, especially for mainstream media as we go forward, which tells you one thing, guys. Y'all know it. Y'all know when the mainstream media is pushing something, it's BS, right?
This is quite amazing, actually. I was attending a UFO conference this morning when this broke, and thank you for covering it. This is a bombshell. We've had whisperings that these whistleblowers are going to be coming out, that the select committees in Congress are, kind of floored at what they're hearing. But this seems to be kind of like a pre-show to what might be coming in the next hearings, because this was unexpected. And Grush comes forward, his credentials check out. I've been talking to multiple people. In fact, those who worked with him at Space Force. He is the real
Space
deal.
Force.
And for him to come out now and the position that he had in gathering these reports from those involved in the crash retrieval programs, and come out now with pre-authorization from the DoD to speak on this matter, we're all kind of scrambling to figure out why. Why now? What's going on?
Why, right? So he said non-human pilots have actually been recovered from some of these wrecks. I don't understand what the value in keeping the lid on this for days, years, decades would be. I would think that we would need to be readied and prepared and maybe even allied around the world if that's the case. What is the purpose of keeping it under wraps?
Well, and here's the next thing, right? Because we're all talking about, we would love to hear, most of us would like to hear all the truth, have it laid out before us. But, I also work as a professional crisis and emergency manager. And one of the big problems, I was doing research at Georgetown University exactly on this, is that when we're, thinking about how great it would be to know this knowledge, you have to remember this is basically an existential crisis. We're shifting people's realities, and a lot of people are not going to take this well. And we need to be very careful. So if there is a plan in place, which I highly doubt, those in power need to stay ahead of the game. If they don't do it correctly, we could have what we call cascading effects. And this could be detrimental, I think, to society because of, we saw kind of a little bit of that in COVID when reality kind of hit us, pretty strong and quick. And so it's anyone's guess, though, whether the government really has a plan for this or not.
Okay, guys. So if you joined us on Saturday night, Beauty and the Boomer, I brought for Cream of Bullshit a report from MSNBS. It was Morning Joe. And we've been out there rallying other countries to sign on to what they call Starlink, but it's actually Blackjack, right? Because we've got to be in the space protecting it, and we need a coalition for that, right? So these little building blocks are being built all over the place so that way they can move forward. Of course, this guy is from Space Force, right? Oh, he's legit. He knows. He's going to tell us how they have aircraft stored and they have organic bodies too. That's another one he's saying, that they do have recovered, you know, whatever you want to call them, they have organic bodies. And I agree. This is total fake. This is a lead up. We've got these committee hearings coming. And of course, MSNBC will be all over it. And so will CNN. And, who knows how Fox will get in on it, I'm sure. And they want the public to have an existential crisis. They love nothing more than to undermine the message, of religion. I mean, whether you support it or not, that has been one of the biggest fears, is, it kind of contradicts, and that would cause the existential crisis, right? I'm going to keep an eye on this bullshit story, but this is 100% bullshit story. All through the 90s, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, there's UFOs. I'm reading the stories and, finding as much info on it as I can. I'm seeing videos. We saw a lot of video come out in the 90s. Of course, we had Alien Autopsy, which we now know was total 100% BS, but I think it piqued a lot of people's interest in it. And but as soon as you realize what our government's up to in our military industrial complex and the history we have of them pulling the wool over our eyes, I don't know if I buy this. And anymore, being a spiritual person like I am, I absolutely think that if there's anything, they're interdimensional beings. I don't think they're just hanging out behind the dark side of the moon. You never know. There's a lot of planets out there that we can't even see, especially moons. Unless the sun shines on it, we don't see it. We have a couple of different ways to detect them, but they're saying there's freaking an infinite number of planets out there that could be housing life. And, the old saying, are we arrogant enough to think that we're alone? I don't know, but I know I don't trust my government to tell me how it's going and what's out there. So the solution is UFO is a one world government with a single digit currency, required a smartphone or an implant chip to transact. Jim, that is dead on, right? That is 100%. So this is all just a part of the plan. It is. It's one step at a time, another brick in the wall, right? For sure. A couple of memes here. So I see the Army's advertising, the military's advertising in damn near every feed I'm in. And look, be visionary, tomahawk that drones into someone's face. Yeah. The original meme of this it's an advertisement, doesn't have the tomahawk that drones you in someone's face. And let's see. How dare you question the technology wonder, this technological wonder? Yeah, that is the lunar lander, if you remember from, when we landed. How dare you question that technology? That's insane. Don't question it. Don't ever question it. Okay, Amber, I brought you a little Bill Gates section, but we are on YouTube, so I ain't going to go too crazy. Agenda 2030. Yep. These anti-vaxxers are dangerous to my health. Abso-freaking-lutely. We are, and we know we are. So let's see. Who knows? The European Commission and the WHO launched landmark digital health initiative to strengthen global health security. This is a digital ID, basically. So EU vaccination certifications should become the basics for WHO certification work. And the WHO is reportedly adopting the EU system behind digital vaccine passports to protect citizens and to make travel easier globally during the next pandemic. So it's going to make travel easier during the next global pandemic, guys. So according to the EU Commission, not just the WHO, and we've been warning you guys about this for years now. Years, literally years. I know Brave New Future burns it down constantly with this. People like Ryan with The Last American Vagabond. I mean, like I say, the info's out there. They don't try to hide it. But that's just that's a first step, right? Absolutely first step. Let's see. And we know this too. Attack on the food supply. Bill Gates pushing a genetically modification of most of your agriculture. So Bill Gates pushing for genetic modification of farm animals. So that spike protein, even if you avoid it, you might pick it up through the food that you're eating is basically what that message comes down to. Being on YouTube, we'll go a little deeper on Friday. They think there is food in our food. Don't we think there's food? And I need to eat better. But I want Taco Bell. Taco Bell is hella good. Yeah, and that's the problem, right? I mean, especially for us Gen Xers. As Gen Xers, we grew up on, we were a major generation of brands, right? You know, Taco Bell, Pepsi, Coke, you know, Doritos. Everything has been marketed and shoved on us, including fast food. I've cut my fast food intake way back, but there is a time every I don't know, every 6 weeks or every 2 months, I get a hankering for Taco Bell. I have to admit it, I do. And I regret it. I think like all of us do, but it always tastes good going down. But how many, chemicals and glyphosate and terrible things are you eating? And now, um, genetically modified meat. So there you are. Amber says, I'm working on a new special series focusing on the WHO UN digital surveillance slavery. Yes, we love your work, Amber. I'm excited to see it. Amber will bring the receipts and show you the truth. The food pyramid. So use the GMO food pyramid to plan your new diet of disease and death. So at the very top of the pyramid, you got corn syrup, candy, aspartame, sugar beets. Yeah, they make everything out of sugar beets now. Farm factory modified salmon. Don't buy that stuff at Costco, guys. Just don't do it. I mean, I bought wild Alaskan cod last night, and that's the only thing I'll ever eat as wild. But you know, with Fukushima, who knows how much I made myself sick. Steroid milk, estrogen chicken. Yeah, that's been a problem for a long time. The steroid milk and the estrogen chicken. I mean, when my kids were little, we were aware of it and screaming about it. And so that was 20 years ago. Fruits and vegetables fresh from a lab. I didn't know they're like the biggest agricultural fruits and vegetable producer is in Italy, right on the edge of the sea. And it just goes for miles and miles and miles of greenhouses. It's the most insane thing. And then, of course, at the bottom, never to be left out, and that is Roundup Ready to BT cancer crop. So, yeah, Monsanto getting their say on the pyramid. And that is our food system in the United States right now. Absolutely 100%, unless you're buying organic, grain-fed, local meat, local sourced. Yeah, that's what you're getting. Farmers market and grow your own food, guys. Oh, I got to tell you, we'll get there. Gardening. I gardened all weekend and oh my gosh, I had an issue. mRNA pork since 2018. Yes, Amber. Everything. And we know if like I've been a cook my whole life. I love to cook. Being raised poor and pretty uneducated till I got older. The only love language or gift that I had was to cook for my loved ones. And so I became an excellent cook. I learned, I went to the South and I would go cook with them. Like literally my father-in-law would pick me up, be like, okay, today I'm going to teach you how to make jambalaya, and I learned so much, but our food has changed. The textures changed. The consistency has changed. The amount of growth on it's changed, how fast it's growing, how, the chickens are fully developed in like some record amount of 60 days or something. And I've had chickens. I actually found a picture of my chickens yesterday. I was like, oh, I miss my chickens. But some of those, I had some GMO chickens and they grew like, I called them Franken chickens because they were like little Frankensteins, man. When my other chickens were still little chicks, man, they were all oblonged and their breasts were already huge, but their wings were tiny. It was disgusting to see. And a lot of them died, just natural causes from being genetically modified. So yeah, our food supply is in a scary, scary place and nobody seems to care. We're just giving corporations more and more free reign and our regulatory committees don't regulate shit. They're in the pockets of these things and we know it. The size of a chicken breast is almost pornographic. Popeye, don't doubt. Like what? Especially if you get the Costco ones, like holy shit, is that a turkey? Yeah, it's and they're growing that fast, right? And it's in them as an embryo. It's in them by their feed and it's It's in them by the medicines they give them. I mean, there's just so many instances of how a chicken is being poisoned and modified before it lands on your table. And I don't know what the answer is, guys. I try. I know you guys all try. We try our best to get clean food. You know, a lot of people have quit eating meat altogether, but that doesn't stop us from getting genetically modified fruits and vegetables too, that have no nutrition in them, right? Grow your own. So grow your own, and make networks and friends with people who are growing, you know. Find local farms that are growing that you can get farm boxes from. Do your local farmers markets. But I know I'm poor. It's hard to do when you're poor, right? You have to really spend a lot of time, and you have to be determined to get a good deal, to be able to find good food, and to try to make that dollar stretch nowadays is so hard. Do you guys know we're paying up to 50% higher than we were a year ago for most items? 50%. I just saw a report where they went and they checked 50%. The government wants to tell you, oh, it's a lot less than that, but that's not the reality of it. And I know you guys are filling it out there at the grocery store too, because I am. I'm having a hell of a time at the grocery store. You know, what used to last me 3 weeks is now lasting me a week or a week and a half. So I don't know. Food co-ops, I guess. I had to bring you a cute little United spot. Hey, they're actually making fun of the Republicans. See, they don't just go after the Dems.
And that's your Twitter Spaces for today. I'm Matt Gates. Go f*** yourself, J6ers. What the fuck? Great Twitter Space today, guys. Matt, do you even know what you said?
1, they're idiots. 2, they had no chance. And 3, they probably deserved the punishment. I thought that the sentences would be less than they were. So
Why would you say that, Matt?
By their duration, but I wasn't particularly aggrieved by them.
I don't even know what aggrieved means. AOC must have put that in the teleprompter. I believed in you. Then you come out with this poop, Brandon, I'm sorry.
That's kind of funny. You guys know what the whole walk away hashtag was, right? That was another party that was trying to start up, and it was people walking away from the Dems to go to the Republicans, I believe. I did follow a little bit of what they were talking about, but not too much. I never was serious about it. Go start. It's called a pill. It doesn't even wash off. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know why my voice is going out now. This is a funny story I had to bring you. A local woman finds cocaine on her hot dog, and this is in New Mexico. Shocker. Let's find out how it happened.
Somebody found something very surprising in their fast food order in northern New Mexico recently. Police say when a woman just bit into her hot dog, she was also biting down on a bag full of cocaine. Tommy Lopez breaks down what else investigators are revealing tonight.
A bag of cocaine in a fast food hot dog. Police say Celine Gonzalez got that surprise Tuesday. She was doing something many of us enjoy in the summertime, just going out, getting a hot dog to go. She got it at this Sonic in Espanola on South Riverside, took a bite, and realized she'd bitten down on a small plastic bag filled with the white powder, officers say. Police claim testing confirmed it is a gram of cocaine. In their report, officers say Gonzalez spit out the bag, but didn't say whether she ingested any of the drug. Word has already spread around town, but this Sonic is still open, and many people got food while we were here.
I think that's pretty scary. First of all, you know, we come here to get food and for our families, and if a child found that, it could have been pretty bad or deadly.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, cocaine in a hot dog, I mean, doesn't sound right, but I mean, I just got an ice cream. I hope we're good.
Police say the cook is responsible. They charged David Salazar with cocaine possession, a felony. Police say they watched surveillance video from inside the Sonic and claim after making Gonzalez's food, Salazar looks like he's frantically searching for something he lost. Officers say he admitted to them that it was his cocaine. He says he bought it from someone in the Sonic parking lot.
That just cracked me up because the whole time I'm watching that as it's leading up, I'm like, oh, it's got to be the cook. Somebody is dealing out of there and they're sneaking it out in a hot dog. You come up, you place an order. He knows that he puts it in there, or he dropped it. And it turns out it was a bad day. He dropped it. But you know what, Sonic? If you put that on the menu, you'd probably get a big boost in business. That's all I'm saying. Funny story. Bad day for that dude. you know. And why drop it in the hot dog? So crazy. Okay, guys, we're getting close to getting out of here, but I have been tortured for the last 2 weeks with this certain ad on YouTube. And I don't know if it's just me. Is it one of those things that's just in my algorithm and it's singling me out? Because literally every feed I go into, it's always like 2 or 3 tweets, then this advertisement, 2 or 3 more tweets, then this advertisement, and it grosses me out. And what the hell? Does this actually really happen? You guys, we'll talk about it. Is this in your news feed too? Are you guys plagued with that one too? Oh God, that freaking video drives me nuts. There's a couple other ones out there, but not like that one. What are the cockroaches doing? Do cockroaches eat through screens? Is that what they're trying to tell us? Because I'm just baffled every time I see this 100,000 times a day. Is that what really happens? I didn't know if that could happen. Oh my God. The worst ads of this month, right? Maybe I should make that a section. Worst YouTube ads ever. Yeah. Or I mean, Twitter ads. This is the worst. I'm going to do one of those because they're everywhere. We're all plugged with them, right? We might as well make fun of them. That's the way I see it. Let's talk about gardening, guys, because I got out and got my garden on this weekend. I put another, 6 cubic feet of dirt out and transplanted a bunch of stuff, started a bunch of stuff, got myself a couple of new peppers and a fuchsia, and I had a blast out there. But I had one issue, and I'll tell you about it. But I love this. It says, buy me plants and tell me you don't trust the government. That is such my shirt. And laundry piled high, dishes in the sink, bed isn't made, but have you seen the garden? And yeah, that's what it comes down to around this time of year, right? So I had some beautiful, you guys know I'm doing the sunflower challenge, right? And I've got all different sizes of sunflowers right now. I planted some early, some late. And the ones I planted really early, I don't know why, but I just threw them in the same bed with a couple of zucchini or squash plants. I think they're either zucchini or squash. Anyways, they were probably a good 1.5 feet tall. I mean, they were strong, healthy, big stalks on them, beautiful, but they were crowding my squash so much that my squash wasn't growing. So I was like, shit, I got to move these guys and I got to do it now while they're still little, right? So I get a nice big root ball. I go all the way around them. I pull them up. I get them in their new pots with fresh, good dirt, I get them nice and watered, and they just freaking fell over. And I'm like, oh, no. Did I kill them? Because they were like my most beautiful, plants that I had going. And so I get online and I start reading, and it turns out that, yes, it's not good to transplant sunflowers, seedlings, after they're a couple of inches tall. That there's something that they emit into the dirt, and the way their root system is, they just don't transplant well. So I'm heart sick. I might have lost some of my babies. I've got them tied up. They're out there. A few of the leaves are drying and dropping, and I'm hoping they'll rally. I'm hoping they're still young enough they can grab back on. So I'll let you guys know, but I've been out there just working it. My garden's starting to look good. I still have a lot of work to go, and but I enjoy it. It's a good break from all of this, right? I take in so much negativity with the current events that sometimes it's nice to just turn it off, go outside. When I listened to the Beatles' White Album, which I haven't listened to a long time, probably years and years, and it's like, you know what? I woke up with Yesterday in my head for some reason. So they say the best way to get a song out of your head is to go listen to the song. So I just went on a total Beatles kick for, the whole day. I got a little sunburn, but I had a blast. But now I'm so sore I can barely bend over. And that's what comes with gardening, right? That, and I have no nails. Guys, look at it. You guys know I normally have long, beautiful nails, and normally they're my nails. Sometimes I'll wear fake ones, but not now. Now's not the time. Maybe in August I will get nails back. And let's see, what else did we have last? I just wanted to show you the beautiful scenery from where I live. I live on the Olympic Peninsula where the mountains meet the sea. And we got the best of it all. And that mountain view picture right there, that's what I see every morning out my front window, and it is glorious. And the water is literally 3 miles the other way. And we have beautiful trails and waterfalls and meadows because we're a valley in some places. And I just live in such a beautiful place in the world, and I'm so grateful for it. I really am. I have such gratitude for it. And you can see the haze from the chemtrailing on there, but you know, I want to fight as hard as I can to protect it. I think, you know, any decent person does. Okay, let's see. What do we got this week, guys? We got a new Beauty and the Boomer After Dark. Oh, Oz has got us sitting on the job. I like that picture of you, Oz. It's very like mountain man, like gonna go hike or something. So join us. We had fun on Saturday. We always have fun. And yeah, we'll be doing some special things like we always do for y'all. Oh, I lost my rock fin. Let me get my rock fin back up. There we go. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Did I miss any super chats? If I did, I apologize. I'm looking. Did I get them all? I think I got them all. Scream at me if I didn't get your super chat. I want to make sure I get your super chat, Super Ray. I think the super chat's actually on the YouTube. And let's see. Let's talk about my shows during the week. I'm thinking about changing my schedule. What do you guys think? Should I start doing a Monday show instead of a Tuesday show, or do you guys like the Tuesday show? I don't know. Send me a tweet. Let me know what you think. I'm thinking about taking maybe Tuesdays and Wednesdays off because Monday is such a busy news day. And I feel like all I'm doing is recapping Jimmy Dore's show on Tuesday morning, which I scoop Jimmy on Fridays. And so I don't like being scooped by Jimmy. And so I'm thinking about doing a show on Monday mornings, and then I'll take Tuesday and Wednesday off. And then, of course, we'll do the rest of the week. So I have Beauty and the Boomer always on Saturdays, and To Hell and Back on Thursdays. Hopefully we'll get one from Pasta this week, and Trailer Park Pundit. Right now I am on censored Tuesdays and uncensored Fridays. So we'll make it a censored Monday. What do you think? That's what I call it from now on. Censored Monday and uncensored Friday. I got a great closer for you guys. But here, let's talk about Julian Assange real fast. Every time we witness an injustice and do not act, we train our characters to be passive in the pressure or the presence of, and therefore eventually lose all ability to defend ourselves and those we love. In a modern economy, it is impossible to seal oneself off from injustice. Here, Julian Assange. Please write Julian Assange. There's the address. Of course, he's in Belmarsh. Oh, guys, guess what I got? I got my dog tags from Halo. Oh, they're beautiful. Cold Fusion's got them hanging in his stream. So that's good because I love that Cold Fusion reaches out to the gaming community with the Julian Assange message. As you know, it's so important that we get into as many spaces as possible. So that's where they're at. But go over to Halo Benson's Twitter feed and you can order them too. $20. All that money goes to building boxes, information boxes to go out to organizers for events, tabling, getting a hold of your elected representatives. It's so important. Okay, guys, I think we're out of here. What a show that was. Thank you for making me forget how ill I felt for the last 2 hours because, you know, when you're busy, you don't think about it. And I made it. Whew, I made it through it. DC, thanks for joining me. Fred, Edward, Jim, Amber, Ronnie Graham. Oh, Ronnie Graham, did I get yours? It was Ronnie Graham. Ronnie, you gave me and I didn't read it. Did I read it? I'm going to go find it, Ronnie Graham. I'm looking. I get so ahead of myself. I lose these and I apologize. Ronnie Graham, where is it? I should be able to go to just tips and see it, right? Oh, there we go. Ronnie Graham. JFK Jr. blew his own campaign out of the water. Will Cornell West keep Nick silent and on a short leash? That's a good point, Ronnie. It is. That's a great point. Will Cornell, and you know, I don't have no hate for Nick, guys. I got to tell you, when it comes to Julian Assange, he's always been consistent. He's always on the ground, and he literally shows up in a space of other independent media people who trash him constantly, talk shit about him. That's hard to do. That's hard to hold your head up high and go there, but you know you're doing it because you're supporting Julian Assange. So, I mean, yeah, I'm just not going to trash talk Nick. I someday, you know, people will see it for what it's worth. And that's the way that's what I've always said for a long time now. Like, you know, Jimmy will see it. It took him a while to see COVID. He'll see it. And who knows? Maybe Cornell will breathe some life into this and recruit some energy. I don't know, but I'm going to keep an eye on it and let you guys know. So thank you so much for the Super Ray Ronnie Graham. Of course, one of our Patreons. We love our Patreons. And I want to do a big special for our Patreons this coming soon. Ooh, maybe we should do like a crazy watch party for the Patreons. Let's do it. I'll figure it out. The next watch party will be a Patreon only. Ah, there we go. And I'll find something good. I've been thinking about doing Clockwork Orange. What do you think? Should we do Clockwork Orange or some? I like the older ones, you know. So, and I think I can get away with those better than trying to run some studio movie from nowadays. Okay, guys, I am out of here. You guys go out, get in the sun, get some fresh air, get some vitamin D, and just don't let the crap get you down, because you guys know the truth. And you know what? Just be free as a seagull. I had to bring this cover. This is Bad Company's cover of Seagull. I love every single Bad Company song from this album. I could have picked 1 out of 10, but I chose this one. Beautiful cover. And thanks for joining me. I will see you guys probably Friday.
Seagull, you fly across the horizon into the misty morning sun. Nobody asks you where you are going. Nobody knows where you're from. There is a man asking the question, is this really the end of the world? Well, Seagull, you must have known for a long time the shape of things to come. Now you fly through the sky, never asking why, and you fly all around till somebody shoots you down, da 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 down. Seagull, you fly across the horizon into the misty morning sun. Nobody asks you where you are going. Nobody knows where you're from. And you fly through the sky, never asking why. And you fly all around till somebody shoots you down. Seagull, you fly. Seagull, you fly away. And you fly away today. And you fly away tomorrow. And you fly away. Leave me to my sorrow. Yeah. Seagull, go and fly. Fly to your